The reason you're failing at forming new habits, those new habits you want so much to have, the reason you're failing at forming them is because you're fighting your entire body and your entire psyche's survival mechanism. And they're a lot stronger than you and they're a lot smarter than you. So if you want to actually form new habits, you have to find a way to work with them and not against them. So I used to have like a ton of really bad habits. I was never like a junkie, really. I used to smoke cigarettes, so that's another topic, but just general life habits. And it took me a long time to find a way to coach myself, if you like, to get back to what I did want, the type of life I did want to have, because your habits are your life. So I was, waking up at 4 in the afternoon, and I was having a horrible diet, and you name it, like you name it. But what I used to be, to try to do is, I would say like we do in New Year's resolutions. From now on, okay, tomorrow morning I'll wake up at 8 and I'll have a 6 hour work session and I'll work out and etc. etc. And obviously that didn't work. That failed miserably. And even when I did manage to pick up my new habit for maybe a week, 2 week, 3 weeks, I was, let's say, practicing my guitar every day. Well, I always found myself going back to the old life, and I would rise a little, and I would crash and burn. And obviously, I would feel horrible. I would call myself a loser or whatever, and it would take many months, sometimes longer, for me to work up the courage, to try again because it's so painful. But obviously, it is doable. It is very doable. You can absolutely do it. And what did I work out? Well, essentially, yeah. So your habits are designed to keep you safe. That is their main function. Okay, they are designed to keep you alive. And even if you're miserable as far as your body is concerned, well, if you're still breathing, mission accomplished. So when you're trying to form a new habit, okay, you will encounter situations and feelings you're not used to, and this will be uh, sensed by your body, interpreted by your body as danger, because your body doesn't understand, thoughts and ideas and noble aspirations. It understands feelings. So if it's feeling stress and tension, that's what it's understanding. It's understanding that you're in a stressful situation, hence a dangerous situation, and it will try to put you back in a non-stressful situation, which is your bad habits, because those are your safety zone. The problem is that if you're trying to form new habits to get back to that life you want to have, or I said back, but maybe you've never had the life you wanted. So you're trying to have a brand new life, which is something you aspire to. And if you aspire to it, it's because it's in you and you can do it. But doesn't mean that it's not hyper stressful and dangerous as far as your body is concerned to become that person. Like, it's very uncomfortable. So, and there is no way to avoid that discomfort. Okay, uh, because you're forming new habits. You're in the land of the unknown, and even though it's pleasurable in many ways, you're getting positive feedback. Maybe you're losing some weight, for instance, if you're doing exercise. It's still the tension is still too strong. The discomfort is still too strong. You see, if you're trying to do too much, but if you do too little, you're not making any gains. You're still, living your old habits. You're just deluding yourself. I'm eating chocolate cake. Yes, I'm eating chocolate cake for dinner and supper every day, but I'm having this lovely radish on top of it. It's you're not making a lot of, of headway with that radish. Okay. Um, so what's the trick then? Okay, well, the trick obviously is to dose your new habit in so that it is still uncomfortable enough that you're making headway. You have to feel some discomfort, okay? But not enough that the discomfort becomes unmanageable as far as your body is concerned. And finding that sweet spot is really the hard part. So you have to find a new habit or new habits, a series that are difficult in a sense, that are uncomfortable certainly, but that are still manageable. So it's the limit of what you can handle safely, okay? And that's where you dose your efforts. There is another aspect which goes with it, another problem which goes with it, which is that a lot of the discomfort is felt by your body, but you're not aware of it because we're very disconnected from our feelings and bodies. Okay, so very often we believe we're doing a lot better than we actually are stress-wise. Okay, and what we're usually burying is fear and shame, because those are very, very powerful, unpleasant, emotions, but very, very powerful signals that something is wrong. Okay, and fear is very powerful, but shame is probably the most powerful. Okay, shame is so powerful that usually we don't feel it. It's barely there, but actually a lot of times our lives are driven by that unconscious shame. So why am I mentioning it here in this video? Because when we get back to the old habits, part of what we'll be fleeing, the feeling we're fleeing is the failure. I wanted to make new habits, and I didn't succeed because I was trying something really hard, but I didn't know how hard it was because we're not taught this. We're taught willpower and strength and winners and losers, and that's horrible. That's like beating your dog. It's horrible. Huh? And because changing your habits is incredibly difficult, and it's very doable, but as I said, if you don't manage the difficulty of what you're trying, which is a very fine-tuned kind of thing, well, it's very likely you will fail, at least at first, and you might get out of the fear zone, which was the stress zone of your new habits. But what you will very likely experience at that time is the shame response. Okay, and when you get back into your safety zone, your old bad habits, part of what is maintaining those old habits is the shame you're feeling at your failure. The powerful hurt of, oh my God, I tried to change my life and I failed. This proves I'm such a loser. Yes. And I need to bury this. And that is why you have the old habits. Okay. And the trick here isn't to try to bring those feelings more intensely to the surface or try to feel them. Sometimes you might hear that advice. And when the feelings come up, you have to feel them. So that's definitely something the more you can feel them, the better, but not by digging at them. You need to, if the fear comes, let it be there and focus on what you do want, which are your new habits. And if the shame comes up, same thing. So let's say you want to start writing every day. Obviously, it could be exercise, could be any number of things, but let's say you want to be a creative person. Okay, and you want to start writing a novel, for instance. You want to write books or song, doesn't matter what it is. You want to write a novel. You've bought the Stephen King book on writing, a very good book, and he has his schedule. He writes every day from, I don't know, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., something like that. And he gets a lot of work done, and you definitely need that. It's the best way to go if you want to have a creative life with, you know, making more works of art or something like that. Having a set, you know, work period, with a disciplined work period, is a great idea. Ultimately, that is your goal. But Stephen King has been at it for decades, and you haven't. So if you want to go from, you know, playing video games or watching Netflix or YouTube videos 8 hours a day to working in your novel 6 hours a day and go from one to the other, it's not going to work. It's too much. And you will try it. And if you even succeed at sitting down in front of the computer, it won't last long. Okay. If you do one day, I will be very impressed. There are some people who can do it. I have heard, like Bigfoot sightings, you know. I have heard that some people actually can reinvent completely their lives from one day to the other, and drop all the old habits and pick up all the new ones like in a block. Okay, now they've completely changed their lives. They're working 6 hours on the novel. They're working out 2 hours a day. All these things. I have heard of people who have done it. I've seen it online. I've seen one or two people say they've did it. They succeeded. So it might be possible, and you might try it, but it's really like not what most people experience, not what I experienced, certainly. And I did try it, and usually very often sent me back to the spiral of, you know, shame and bad habits and all these things. So what if you want to write a novel, for instance? What do? Well, I need to pick up new habits. I've never created anything in my life. So what is the minimum thing I can do every day? Because I need to pick up the habit. I need to change. I'm trying to change my life, which means I'm trying to form new habits. So, okay. Novel, writing, it's writing. Here's my pen, and here is a notepad. And my goal every day is to write one sentence. But I need to write it every day. It will help me if I write it every day at the same hour, when I wake up, or at 10 a.m. or something, like a mini ritual, if you like, because this helps your habit forming process. But it's not necessary. And you might find that even that is very difficult, because, oh, this is stupid. Writing one, I'll never write a novel like this, which is true. You'll never write a novel with one sentence a day, but you're not trying to write that novel right now. You're trying to form the habit that would allow you at a later stage to write the novel, which will get you there, okay? Because you're not there yet. You can't climb a mountain or run a marathon if you spent all your days in the last 20 years on your couch watching Netflix or YouTube. Yes. So your new habit is writing one sentence in your notepad a day. That is your goal now. And your goal is to do that for essentially 3 weeks, 1 month, something like that. Because, you know, there are studies, and Japanese people are very good at, you know, they have a method. And for forming new habits, to discipline yourself, and you will hear sometimes that, you know, how long does it take for your body really to understand the new habit? Okay, for the loop of positive return of satisfaction, which you will have if you do it. If you do it, you will feel satisfied. Oh, I am doing something for myself. Yes, you're getting positive feedback. Okay, and your nervous system, your body is is receiving the feedback, the nervous feedback, the positive feedback, and it's seeing that the threat is okay. The feedback is manageable. This new positive feeling is not a threat. Hmm. And okay, so I can let my guard down a little. I can let go of some of that old bad habit. Okay. So that process, your body needs to learn it. Okay, it needs to integrate it, and it has its own rhythm, and you can't force it. It has its own thing, and you need to respect it and follow its lead. You're leading, but you need to respect where your body is at. Okay, its own rhythm. So is it 3 weeks? Is it 3 months? Depends who you ask. Okay. But it's something in there. 1 month, 3 weeks, 1 month to about maybe 3 months is kind of the time it takes for you to form a new habit. But if your new habit, for instance, is writing one sentence in a notepad every day, well, it's not too difficult, even if when you're starting out, when you're starting to feel comfortable with it, like let's say after a month, well, maybe the habit isn't entirely, ingrained in your body at that time, but perhaps you can go to 2 sentences at that time, or perhaps you can add a little extra habit. The process doesn't need to be super long. Okay, you can build up on your wins, which is ultimately what you'll be trying to do. And so you won't be writing one sentence in a notepad for the rest of your life. It's not going to take you 30 years to go from where you are to the new life you want to have with those new habits. But the thing is that if you're trying to go too fast, it can definitely take you 30 years, because you'll always be trying to do too much, and your body will panic, and you will go back into your old habits, and you will feel the shame, and you will try to suppress the shame, so that will keep you in your old habits. And you can definitely spend decades doing that. Okay. So once again, the trick is that you need to find a new habit that is in the direction of what you want. So for instance, if you want to be creative, I gave the easy example of writing a novel. So the minimum task, which is linked to the new goal you have, which is okay, artist, writer. Okay, I'll write one sentence. Even if it's just one sentence, the habit of writing is being built. And as far as your body is concerned, that's all that matters. If it's 1 minute or 5 minutes, or even eventually 5 hours, like Stephen King, it's not that big of a difference. The big difference is between doing and not doing, like Yoda said. And that's why the one sentence exercise, for instance, is very powerful. And that's essentially that's the kind of the trick to form your new habits. Find a level of discomfort that is manageable. Find a small task, but that still is in the direction of what you want, which will give you positive feedback. And the positive feedback is a little stronger than the sense of fear. But it's manageable because it's such a small task, and you do it every day. You form a new habit, and then you get the positive feedback of having formed a new habit, which is a very good feeling. Okay, and you can start capitalizing on that. You can start building on that. So that will be the way of getting out of your old life and getting you to that new life, which is the life you have inside you, which is the life you're meant to live and need to live, and we all need it. We all need you to live your better life. So you can do it. You can do it.